No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a worse situation than where I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Huh? Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. But the weaker beat while the strong eats. You were wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma. His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma. What? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest, which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue.
No, there's definitely something in the photo.
Very well, I will now proceed immediately to the ruling.
No!
It seems we will be able to report to the British government on time after all. That smug little... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all of the evidence placed before me, I hereby find you... Wait, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke. I don't think you can rule on this case yet. This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives the ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom. Yes. Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt on this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail on it, the ruling on this case at this time would be out of the question. This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There'd be no problem with this evidence. You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag. Ha! My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I'm desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Very well. I will grant the defense one final opportunity. What? But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear?
Oh, that mallet.
I will break your kneecaps. With the powers vested in me by this court, I will smash you with this hammer. Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photographic print. Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail which you have alluded. Are all of you blind? Oh yeah, it's not going to light up. It moves around. Give me space.
All right.
Yes! Yes! Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark in the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Oh, I mean, I suppose I could have done that.
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle
another word
he would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist. Clearly, that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag. Yes, that is a burn mark. You are right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the postmortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either.
No, we know where that comes from.
The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark.
It looks like
makes me want steak. However, as prosecutor Ouchie points out, unless a firm connection to this case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the dean and other university staff.
No, you are not letting her escape court. She's just going to flee.
She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case?
Yes.
To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Cripes, this is a long case.
I know.
Yes, you're right. I like at the beginning of this, like before we started today, Shell's like, yeah, we'll probably get like partway into the second case. The first trial is always like an hour long anyway, right? It's like, nope. I'm not going to make it to a second case. I'm going to lose my voice.
And I'm not going to have done anything at all. This is terrible.
I am? If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again. Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that. Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I cannot allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then would you allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is a lot of preamble for something we already know. Which really kind of just describes the Phoenix Wright series in general. Or I guess Ace Attorney series in general. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. Sorry, the sentence structure confused me for a second. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. Evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial.
Yep, is the plate.
Pretty sure it's this one.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes! The one thing I miss is the, in Phoenix Wright, there was specific music that that would play. It was like the really classic, like, Phoenix is winning now.
But I think you'll get to that when Brett starts to...
freaking out.
Yes.
It's true, but it would play a little bit more often. I want a little bit of success music. Anyway, what's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, we may have overlooked at the things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would really be quite inexcusable. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer, if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here evermore. What? How? You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Yes, a little mark on the sizzling skillet.
The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. plate. Ah! Your Excellency, are you all right? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. Ah. The emblem on the plate and the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Ah! Ryunosuke, you genius. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant. But even if that's the case...
So this is the music you're talking about.
Yeah, you're right. It is the Pursuit music. God, the soundtrack on this game is great. We can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time. Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim.
Did the postmortem, was it a post-death? Or
Don't know.
does a burn change depending on whether it occurs before or after death?
It does.
Because
the flesh does not redden around the burn on a postmortem death. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But... I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And, although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, investigator? Or inspector, sorry. Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds.
your voice is...
I'm sorry. Voice is getting a little tired and I'm out of water.
Do you want some of my water?
Yeah, please. I'm just gonna pour it into my bottle. Or, not my bottle, my cup.
Into your glass. Yeah, he must have gotten burned after he died. Or his hand must have flopped onto the plate.
Yeah.
When he...
But yeah, too many men in one case means my voice starts mixing. At least I haven't started
I
honking
hope there
for
are more
anybody else
female
yet.
characters later on. Because...
I mean, this is vengeance for that one case where you were voicing like 3 women at once and it was starting to get bad. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation. But you're a detective, not a waiter!
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet, Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream. Not on that day or any day before it. That's right, and the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds on that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us, without any question, would have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think?
Yep.
Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already
deceased.
No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from in one particular situation. Counsel? Are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Already dead? Ah. What if he was poisoned or something?
Before being shot?
Yeah, and the shot was just covered up?
I mean, it could have happened with the drinks.
Yeah, because there's no way she could have shot him and then turned him around without anybody noticing.
And the glass she took probably wasn't her own. It was probably the poisoned one.
Yeah, could have been. Oh, you're right.
Because
anesthesia? I doubt it's anesthesia. Mainly because anesthesia is topical. It's in a location. There's no way laughing gas would prevent you from feeling that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to walk after a dentist appointment. Anyway.
That could be the trap that they're referring to, though, but
yeah,
meh.
We'll see. Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! Oh, they said Anastasia. Order, please! Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency.
Wait a minute. One thing to note about the gunshot is there was no blood pouring out of it.
You're right.
That's true.
Yeah, just the burn mark.
Mm-hmm.
This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly has no grasp on the facts.
Objection!
No, Professor Ouchie. It's you
No,
who
prosecutor.
has no... Oh, prosecutor, sorry. Prosecutor Ouchie. It's because we were talking about students. My brain. No, Professor... God damn it, I did it again. Prosecutor Ouchie. It's you who has no grasp on the facts. I beg your pardon! As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered the burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? I just want him to break the table at some point. Just karate chop it in half.
You almost continued in the prosecutor's voice. For the your... And then you stopped yourself.
They're blending.
Everything's
We've been going for a while.
Because, I mean, you've been voicing one,
I haven't been doing a whole lot of
3,
voice acting lately because my
4.
voice has been kind of rough.
Yeah.
And so I've been actively staying away from games that would require voice acting. Anywho, Your Excellency, the court must hear from the witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard. It's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your lunch and engagement. But, Your Excellency! The justice system in our country may be in its infancy. But rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I'm prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. Smile.
Yep. Just a smile.
What was that smile?
Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
Oh, thank God.
She knows perfect Japanese.
Miss Brett, you speak Japanese?
Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all.
But then why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? Your language sucks.
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world.
What are you laughing
One
about?
of my favorite hobbies is to occasionally just browse English towns' names.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are straight up like dickhole and stuff. Not kidding. Some towns are incredibly silly. Like, we need to do this someday just to make fun of Britain for a bit, because they have some really funny town names in very close proximity to each other that could not have been named in an innocent... Yeah, Dalrymple.
Wander, why are you depriving me of an opportunity to speak?
So I can drink.
So that you can buy the water.
Look, my normal voice doesn't hurt me, but every single one of these dudes hurts me. Oh, okay.
As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible.
Oh.
What? What? What?
Wow. If I recall, there's a town called Soup. Yes. Watch Ouchie just turn hostile after that.
The funny thing was, Ouchie, though, was talking about... He was lauding English and how it would be the
absolutely.
future and stuff.
But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So, I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all in your own level.
At your own level.
Oh, well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We're truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So, we're finally going to hear in her own words on the matter. Or hear her own words on the matter.
That was Cosmo speaking, by the way.
Yeah. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. Oh, wait. Yeah. I thought I was doing Cosmo's voice. I don't know. I'm losing it. This is
I know.
too much.
Your voice for Ryunosuke started off a little bit higher, and then you've put it to your normal voice.
No, none of that was Ryunosuke's. All of that was Kazuma.
I know, but your Kazuma is starting to sound too much like your Ryunosuke.
My Ryunosuke. You're getting the characters mixed up.
No.
Ryunosuke is the young guy.
I know. Your voice for him used to be higher, but you've been lowering it as the case has been going on.
As my voice is getting rough.
Right. So your Kazuma voice sounds low, but then it...
But
never
none
mind.
of those lines were Ryunosuke. I don't know why you're correcting me on that.
I know. I was saying that this is Kazuma speaking. I thought that you were talking in your Ryo's... Never mind.
Okay.
Let's continue. The victim's death.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the Postmortem Report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please, do show me.
She's a medical student, for crying out loud.
Yeah, poison.
But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up any of it anyway.
Really? Oh, it's because they don't have the chemistry for it, and they don't do the autopsies, so...
Wow, Judge. You absolute
Everyone's always
turd.
enamored by the woman in
Yeah,
these
but
games.
it's like she's just actively being kind of racist and terrible. I mean, I guess it's not exactly racist, but country's inferior investigative techniques. Like, to call that beautiful is just, ugh. That's the most captivating and beautiful testimony. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it.
I hope that is the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, Forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone.
Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems we're very clear from your testimony that this borscht of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant.
I will be speaking in your country's minister... to your country's... Well, I'll start this over again. Bloop. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about this. What has happened here today?
The Minister of Justice?
May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen.
Huh? Thanks? Is that a prayer, then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear?
Oh, smacking himself in the face.
Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination.
All right. So she really has no
Okay.
idea.
Yes!
But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed.
Do you think so? Let me ask you something.
Sorry?
Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you?
Huh? What?
Oh, what fun! You hadn't realized.
The dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke. Why didn't you tell me?
Well, I suppose no one else was looking at his trousers.
Yeah.
Were they?
Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing?
Oh, yes! I think my tiny brain can. Well, I can't.
Anyway,
Okay, so this is raising your glasses in a toast.
As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at the time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink, correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although, whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that.
damn you.
I have enough English to understand that, at least, for the benefit of others in the court. It means bless you. I think it means the exact opposite.
Anyway,
Okay.
Okay. The postmortem report. Well, that's because they can't detect
Yes,
it.
it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma.
yes.
Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there's no other signs of trauma in the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled down even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point. And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Unless you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time.
Are we going to show the photograph?
Probably. I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right. Yeah.
I mean, it's poison.
Without leaving a trace.
If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body.
Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga? As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. Huh. There would be physical traces with all of those causes of death. That's true. Maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. Seriously, none of you guys know about poison?
If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it?
Oh no, perish the thought. Calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question? On my honor, I, Takatsuchi Ouchie, will cut down any who try to cast such aspersions.
Ooh, that's a nice one too. Aspersions.
Way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence.
So we can show the photograph with the bullet wound and show that there's no blood coming out.
I can't
or do we
believe
show the
nobody
glass?
has even thought of the word poison.
Yes.
Inferior. What do you mean by that?
In the lands of the great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so?
Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident.
Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost.
Well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I
Popping
haven't seen
again.
that before.
Yeah, thought bubble, what?
Yeah, I don't know if I can't do anything about that.
It doesn't even occur that your naive detectives do try to preserve the crime scene? I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand?
A killer blow. The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right.
That was Hosonaga.
What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her. Inspector Hosonaga. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Huh. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective.
Oh, so maybe now you can select the ...
Yeah. Alright then, I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose. Once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. So now we have the new mechanic for pressing another person. That's kind of nice. I do actually really like the fact that they have two characters on the stand sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes!
It's nice to see that the series has progressed mechanically at least a little bit. Even if it's ultimately just more layers on the same systems. Okay, inferior, what do you mean by that? We've got to wait until he starts choking and dying.
Wait.
Yep, there we go.
Okay, I still can't do anything yet. Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been on the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are going very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the English woman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they'll often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. I'm gonna have to listen to the soundtrack for this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought. Sorry? Pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness maker.
Marker.
Oh, marker.
Mm-hmm.
What? Marker. At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who is the person actually making the current statement.
Ah, there you get to switch between them.
But by moving the marker left and right with the D-pad, you can turn your attention to the other people in the stands. While you're looking at other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If you can catch the person at the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so first I should move the marker across with that and focus on the detective. Then pursue him with and see what's on his mind. Here we go.
Okay, so this was her final statement. That's where the exclamation point takes place. Let's go to it.
It's not letting me. There we go.
There you are.
Oh, interesting.
She actually had.
It
That's her
says
portrait.
who's saying that, specifically when we have other people selected. I wish they actually just had the portrait all the time. Wait, what was that?
Yeah, what?
I didn't know who said what. It went really fast.
It was him.
Oh, he probably just went, pursue Hosonaga.
Excuse me.
And then he freaks out. Gah, what is the meaning of this? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts deeply. Looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court. What is the meaning of this?
He just wipes all the sweat off in one fell swoop.
You just see his hand later and it's just soaked, as is like part of his outfit. It is the delightful English woman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. Huh? The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes. If you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain, which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see.
Did he have any liquid with him?
I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. Crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Is that? This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming. I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence.
Yes, now we can actually use it as the poison, if you will. The carbonated water bottle has been entered into the court record.
Miss Brett, can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death?
Yes, it was that bottle.
What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Okay.
So now we show the bottle.
I'm probably going to save here.
Because you
it
don't
probably
know
doesn't matter as much.
You don't know which statement that bottle goes with.
Yeah, it might be one of those where I can use it on multiple bits of testimony.
Okay, can you go back? If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please
try it here. We'll see what
show
happens.
me.
Oh, but yeah, we should probably inspect it first.
Inspect the bottle first.
Ah, we can. The label's written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. I'm going to go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. Just pour it out.
Have someone drink it. See what happens? No, I'm kidding.
So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. Looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched.
No, don't!
I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going.
No!
No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that. One thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh, no, you're right. He just drinks it and dies.
Maybe he brings up, or it could have been poisoned, and then they both have that aha moment.
And he dies.
No. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Now, though.
Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke. More ways than one. I wonder. Could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. Huh.
All right. Yes, now we can show the bottle as evidence.
Yeah. So I don't think there's anything else for me to do. Okay, right. I was going to present.
Let's present
Yes!
this bottle.
Yes! What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there's one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass?
Yeah, there's the murmurs.
Order, order, order. And on that day, who is sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who possibly could have done it. Jezeel Brett, it was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile! Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we only have just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty? This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
Ahem. If I may.
I will silence you forever for this
It is you. who should be silent.
Of course. Dear lady! Where did that come from? She just snapped.
I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies.
I'm sorry, my lady, but to what are you referring?
I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector. And whether it contained poison or not.
Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already?
Did he drink it and that's why he's coughing? But only a little bit.
No, my assumption is she poisoned the glasses beforehand. Could
Maybe
be.
it was a little, I don't know.
I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency.
But every poison
What?
that they can test for at this time, but what could Britain test?
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm assuming it's the glass. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. Oh. No!
Oh, so she could have put a few drops into his glass.
Yeah.
But not the
or
whole bottle.
poison to the rim, or any number of things.
Mm-hmm. I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you.
But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think the cross-examination has clarified everything. Oh, gun now.
Oh.
As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett.
Oh no. I'm just glad the matter is resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present to the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more.
Do we show the handbag with the glass that she took?
Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Ah.
Oh, is it the little girl?
Well, not the little girl, but the...
I mean, she seems young, but
yeah.
Sure, it's the
Younger
young
woman. She's probably got the glass.
Please, wait.
Isn't that... What is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense.
Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package, wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. I don't know. I think I'm gonna like her better than Maya. She seems more functional.
To be continued.
I could be wrong. She could be just as dopey. We will see.
Aww.
Well,
No.
I got some bad news.
Aww.
I need to pee.